Are you falling for a younger woman's sweet words, wondering if she's genuine or just using you? You're not alone. Today I'm revealing the 8 sweet lies younger women tell when they're not being real. Pay close attention. Recognizing these patterns could save you time, money, and heartache. First, you're so much more mature. Ever noticed how she constantly emphasizes your maturity compared to guys her age? You're so much more mature than men I usually date. I love how grown up you are. Guys my age are just so immature. Sound familiar? Here's what you need to understand, gentlemen. Relationship psychologists have identified a clear distinction between flattery and genuine appreciation, and this line often falls squarely into manipulation territory. Studies on transactional relationships reveal a troubling pattern. Manipulative praise tends to spike right before requests are made. Think about this. When does she bring up your maturity? Is it during random moments of connection, or does it conveniently appear when she needs something? Let me break down the difference for you. Authentic admiration is consistent and unprompted. A woman who genuinely values your maturity will mention it organically after you handle a stressful situation with grace, when you give thoughtful advice, or during quiet moments when she's simply appreciating who you are. Strategic flattery, on the other hand, has a distinct pattern. It's weaponized. She'll say, "You're so much more mature than guys my age," right before explaining why she needs help with rent. She'll praise your grown-up perspective when justifying why you should pay for everything because you understand how the world works. Now, here's how this lie specifically targets older men. The age gap is already something you're thinking about, right? You wonder if she really finds you attractive or if you're too old for her. So when she validates your age by framing it as maturity, as wisdom, as experience, as an asset rather than a liability, it hits differently. It soothes that insecurity. Experts agree that this is precisely why the line is so effective. It validates your concerns about the age gap while simultaneously manipulating them to her advantage. The emotional hook is powerful. You feel valued for your life experience. Finally, someone who appreciates what you've learned, what you've built, who you've become. But gentlemen, remember this. Genuine appreciation is demonstrated through respect for your time, your boundaries, and your resources, not just praise for your maturity when she wants access to them. So how do you spot the difference? Watch the timing. Does this compliment show up right before she asks you to cover her car payment? Does she mention how mature and understanding you are when explaining why she can't contribute equally? That's your red flag. Genuine appreciation shows through actions. A woman who truly respects your maturity will seek your advice and actually apply it. She'll value your perspective in decisions she makes. She'll demonstrate reciprocity in the relationship. The biggest red flag? She constantly tells you how mature you are, but treats you like an ATM machine. Words say mature, actions say meal ticket. Trust me, you deserve better than someone who weaponizes compliments. Now, maturity flattery is just the beginning. The next lie is even more insidious because it plays on your protective instincts. Second, I'm not interested in your money. Has she ever explicitly told you that money doesn't matter to her, yet somehow you're always the one paying? I don't care about money. I'm not with you for your wallet. Material things don't matter to me. Gentlemen, when someone feels the need to explicitly state they're not after your money, unprompted, psychologists suggest you should pay very close attention to what happens next. Research on verbal disclaimers reveals a fascinating pattern. People who make preemptive declarations are often doing exactly what they're denying. Studies on financial manipulation in age gap relationships show that this disclaimer is one of the most common red flags. Why? Because someone genuinely unconcerned about money doesn't need to announce it. Think about it. When you're truly not thinking about something, you don't bring it up constantly, do you? Here's the paradox you need to understand. A woman who legitimately values you for who you are simply enjoys your company. Money never becomes a talking point because it's genuinely not on her radar. But when she makes a point to tell you she's not interested in your money, she's actually revealing that money is very much on her mind. It's a preemptive defense mechanism, guys. She's saying it before you can question it. Now let's talk about pattern recognition. Watch what happens after she makes this declaration. She says money doesn't matter, but her lifestyle choices tell a different story. She forgets her wallet consistently. Her rent is temporarily short again. She has a small emergency that requires your immediate financial assistance. She suggests expensive restaurants but never offers to split the bill. She mentions designer items she's just browsing online. The words say independence. The actions scream dependence. Here's how this specifically affects older men. You've worked hard, you've built something, and yes, you have more financial stability than younger guys. That provider instinct is real, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to take care of someone you care about. But gentlemen, there's a massive difference between generous giving and being strategically used. This lie feels believable because you want to believe she likes you for your personality, your experience, your character, not your bank account balance. So how do you know the difference? Watch actions versus words. Does she ever split costs? Does she contribute in ways that show genuine partnership, cooking dinner, planning free activities, offering to cover smaller expenses? Or is the financial flow entirely one-directional? Notice if every financial emergency somehow becomes your problem to solve. A genuine partner contributes in various ways, not just financially benefits from everything. Here's a simple test. Suggest a free or low-cost date. A walk in the park, a coffee at home, a museum on free admission day. Watch her reaction carefully. Enthusiasm or disappointment, that tells you everything. Money lies are obvious once you know what to look for. But this next sweet lie is more emotional, and that's what makes it dangerous. Third, I really need your guidance. Does she constantly ask for your advice but never actually follow through on any of it? I really need your guidance on this. What would you do in my situation? I trust your judgment so much. It feels good to be asked, doesn't it? But here's what relationship experts want you to understand. There's a manipulation tactic called pseudo-vulnerability, and it's designed to hook you emotionally without any intention of real change. Research on intimacy creation reveals something critical. Seeking advice creates a false sense of closeness. When someone asks for your guidance, it signals trust, respect, and connection. But studies show that manipulative individuals weaponize this. They ask for advice not because they want direction, but because they want your continued attention and investment. Let me explain what I call the mentor trap. There's a profound difference between feeling genuinely needed and being strategically used for validation. When she asks for your wisdom, you feel valued for what you've learned over the years. You feel important, respected, like your life experience finally matters to someone. But gentlemen, pay attention to what happens after you give that advice. Does anything change, or do you find yourself having the same conversation about the same problem 3 months later? The pattern looks like this. She comes to you with a career dilemma. You spend an hour giving thoughtful advice about her options. She thanks you profusely, tells you how helpful you are, how much your perspective means. Then, nothing. She doesn't implement a single suggestion. Next month, same problem, same conversation. She asks for guidance on a life decision. Should she go back to school? Should she move? Should she change jobs? You lay out the pros and cons, help her think it through. She does none of it. This is strategic helplessness, guys, and it's designed to keep you engaged and feeling important without her ever having to actually grow or change. Now, why does this work so effectively on older men? Because you want to be valued for your wisdom. After years of experience, mistakes, lessons learned, you've earned that knowledge. When a younger woman seeks it out, it validates everything you've been through. The ego boost is real. You're not just a date, you're a mentor, an advisor, someone whose opinion matters. Experts agree this is one of the most powerful emotional hooks in age gap dynamics. But here's the truth. Genuine learning looks completely different from manufactured neediness. When someone truly respects your guidance, they take action. They show growth. They report back on results, good or bad. So, what should you do? Start tracking whether she implements any advice you give. Keep mental notes. Notice if needing help conveniently keeps you involved in her life without any forward movement. Real respect means she values your input enough to actually use it. You see changes, improvements, progress. The red flag is unmistakable. Same problems recycled endlessly with zero progress. She needs your guidance on the exact same issues year after year because she never needed the guidance. She needed your attention. All right, so she's playing on your wisdom, but wait until you hear how she manipulates your emotions with this next lie. Fourth, age is just a number to me. Has she told you age doesn't matter to her, yet she's quick to point out your age when it's convenient? Age is just a number to me. I've always been attracted to older men. The age gap doesn't bother me at all. Gentlemen, psychologists have extensively studied cognitive dissonance in manipulative relationships, and this statement is a textbook example. Research shows that when someone needs to repeatedly declare something doesn't bother them, it usually does, and they're managing your perception preemptively. Here's the setup you need to recognize. She tells you up front that age doesn't matter because that's exactly what you want to hear. It addresses your biggest concern before you even voice it. It gives you permission to pursue the relationship without guilt or hesitation. But watch what happens when the relationship requires real commitment or sacrifice from her. The pattern emerges clearly over time. Age becomes a convenient excuse when she needs an out. She's too tired to meet your friends. We're just from different generations, you know. She doesn't want to go to your company event. I don't know if I'd fit in with people your age. She can't commit to future plans. We want different things at our stages of life. Notice the selective awareness here, guys. Age doesn't matter when it comes to your wallet, your car, your home, your connections, your ability to provide stability and security. But suddenly, age matters tremendously when it comes to activities that don't benefit her or situations requiring her to publicly claim you. Think about this scenario. We're from different generations becomes her go-to line when avoiding meeting your family or attending events where she'd be seen with you. But that generational gap mysteriously disappears when you're paying for her lifestyle or solving her problems. The age difference isn't an issue when she needs your maturity, your resources, or your guidance. It only becomes relevant when she needs distance or an excuse to avoid deeper commitment. Now here's why this lie is so devastating for older men specifically. The age gap is your biggest vulnerability in this dynamic. It's the thing you worry about most. Are you too old for her? Will people judge? Does she really find you attractive? When she declares age doesn't matter, it provides false security. You relax into the relationship thinking you've found someone who genuinely sees past the years. But gentlemen, she's actually maintaining an exit strategy. The moment things get too serious or require real sacrifice, that age difference becomes her escape hatch. So how do you know if her acceptance is genuine? Watch for consistency. Does she actually integrate you into all areas of her life? Does she introduce you to her friends without hesitation? Does she bring you around her family? Or does she compartmentalize you, keeping you separate from her real life? Notice if age becomes a convenient excuse specifically for avoiding commitment. Genuine acceptance means she doesn't hide you or make age an issue either way. She's either proud to be with you everywhere or something's wrong. The red flag is crystal clear. Age is just a number until she needs a reason to distance herself, avoid obligations, or explain why the relationship can't progress. Now, that age disclaimer is protective for her, but this next lie is about keeping you hopeful. Fifth, I see a future with you. Does she talk about your future together, but never actually makes concrete plans or follows through? I see a real future with you. Eventually, we'll move in together. One day you'll meet my parents. Someday, we'll take that trip we keep talking about. Sound familiar? Relationship experts have a term for this, gentlemen. It's called future faking, and it's one of the most effective manipulation tactics in the playbook. Research on manipulative relationships reveals that vague promises about the future serve a specific purpose. They maintain control while avoiding commitment. Studies show that future faking keeps partners invested in relationships that are going nowhere. Think about it. She's dangling the carrot of commitment just far enough ahead that you keep chasing it, but never close enough that you can actually grab it. Here's the pattern you need to recognize. She talks constantly about someday, but strategically avoids any discussion of when or how. There's always a future where things will be different, better, more committed, but that future never arrives. Eventually, we'll get serious. When? Someday soon. When is someday? Notice how she keeps it vague. One day, we'll meet my family. But that day has been one day for 2 years now. We'll move in together when the timing is right. But the timing is never quite right, is it? This keeps you invested without her having to deliver actual commitment. You've already put in months or years. You've provided support, resources, emotional labor. You're thinking, well, she says we have a future, so I just need to be patient. But gentlemen, genuine commitment doesn't live in someday. It lives in actual plans with actual dates. Now, why does this hook older men so effectively? Because you're likely looking for stability and partnership at this stage of life. You're not interested in games or casual dating. You want something real, something with a future. When she promises you that future, it's exactly what you've been seeking. But here's where the time investment fallacy kicks in. You've already given so much time, money, emotional energy, patience. You keep thinking the payoff is just around the corner. She said we have a future, so I'll just wait a bit longer. Experts warn this is precisely how future faking works. It exploits your investment to keep you trapped in limbo. Here's the truth. Genuine partners make actual plans, not just talk about them. There's a massive difference between someday we should travel together and let's look at dates in June for that trip. Between eventually you'll meet my family and my parents want to have dinner with us next Saturday. So, what should you watch for? Notice if future talk increases specifically when you seem to be pulling away, when you express frustration about the relationship not progressing. Does she suddenly amp up the promises? Track whether any of these future promises ever materialize into real plans. Genuine interest shows up as calendar dates, introductions to important people, integrated lives with actual forward movement. The red flag is unmistakable. Years of someday conversations without any today actions. Future faking keeps you hanging on, but this next lie is about making you feel special while keeping her options open. Sixth, you're different from other guys. Has she told you that you're not like other men she's dated, yet you notice she keeps those other guys lingering around? You're so different from other guys. I've never felt this way before. You're not like the boys I usually date. Gentlemen, relationship psychologists have identified what they call artificial uniqueness as a manipulation tactic. Research shows that claims of exclusivity often mask decidedly non-exclusive behavior. When someone needs to constantly tell you how special you are, start paying attention to whether their actions actually treat you as special. Here's what's really happening. She's creating the illusion of special treatment. You're unique, you're different, you're one of a kind. But here's the catch. You're not actually exclusive. The words say you're unlike anyone else, but the behavior reveals you're just another option in her rotation. Think about this pattern carefully. She claims you're different, but she's still texting her ex. You're supposedly special, but she maintains friendships with guys who clearly want more. You're not like other men, yet she won't delete her dating apps or define what you actually are to her. This is strategic ego stroking, guys, designed specifically to prevent you from asking hard questions. When she tells you how different you are, how unique the connection is, it disarms you. You don't want to seem insecure or controlling by asking about those other men in her life, right? Because you're different. You're mature, you're understanding, you're not like those jealous younger guys. See how it works? The compliment becomes a trap that stops you from setting boundaries or expecting exclusivity. Consider the examples. You're so different and mature, yet she's constantly on her phone, texting someone she won't tell you about. You're unlike anyone she's dated, But she keeps her ex around as a friend, despite that relationship clearly having unfinished emotional business. You're special, but when you suggest meeting her friends or making the relationship official, suddenly she needs space or isn't ready for labels. Now here's why this lie hooks older men specifically. You want to believe you offer something younger guys can't. Experience, stability, emotional maturity, perspective, you've got what they don't. When she confirms this, when she tells you that you're different from all those immature men her age, it validates everything you hope is true. The validation trap snaps shut. You feel chosen over the competition. You feel like your age is finally an advantage. But gentlemen, genuine exclusivity is demonstrated through behavior, not just declared through words. So how do you spot the difference? Watch for incongruence between what she says and what she does. Does she tell you you're special while refusing to be exclusive? Does she claim you're different while keeping backup options active? Notice if she's genuinely exclusive or strategically keeping other men around. Real commitment means her actions match her claims about your uniqueness. She doesn't just say you're different, she treats you differently by actually choosing you over others. The red flag is clear. You're so special, but she won't define the relationship, won't eliminate other options, and won't give you the exclusivity that genuine uniqueness would naturally create. Being told you're special is nice, but watch out for this next lie that disguises lack of effort as understanding. 7th, I'm just going through a tough time. Has she been going through something for months, using it as a reason why she can't fully commit or contribute? I'm just going through a tough time right now. Things are really hard for me at the moment. I just need you to be patient while I deal with this. Gentlemen, experts on transactional relationships have identified what they call perpetual victim mentality as a manipulation strategy. Research shows that continuous crisis creates codependency, keeping you locked in rescuer mode while she avoids any real reciprocity. Here's what you need to understand about the endless emergency pattern. There's always a reason why she needs support but can't give it. Always. She's dealing with family drama, then it's work stress, then financial hardship, then friendship problems, then health issues, then housing instability. The crises are real enough to be believable, but here's the critical pattern. A new emergency appears as soon as the previous one resolves. She's never actually okay. There's never a stable period where she can show up for you the way you've shown up for her. This manufactures dependency while completely avoiding reciprocity. Think about it. When someone is going through a tough time, what do? You step up, you support them, you give them grace, you don't make demands, you don't expect much in return because they're struggling. It's the compassionate response. But gentlemen, genuine hardship has an arc. It peaks and resolves. Manipulation has a pattern. It's perpetual and strategic. Consider these examples carefully. Family drama that requires your financial support but never actually resolves. Work stress that means she needs you to be understanding about her lack of availability, but that stress has lasted 2 years. Financial hardship that you keep helping with, yet her situation never improves despite your assistance. There's always something preventing her from being a full partner, always something justifying why the relationship is one-sided. Now, here's how this specifically exploits older men. Your protective instincts are strong. You've got the resources, the stability, the capacity to help someone through difficulty. When she's struggling, every fiber of your being wants to be the one who helps her through it. The rescuer role feels meaningful. You're not just dating her, you're supporting her through a difficult time. You matter. You're needed. Experts warn this is precisely why the tactic works so effectively. It transforms the relationship into something where you're always giving and she's always in crisis. But here's the truth. Genuine hardship has an arc. Real struggles peak, get addressed, and resolve. People recover. They have good periods and bad periods. Manipulation, on the other hand, has a consistent pattern of perpetual crisis. So what should you watch for? Notice if crises are chronic or if she ever has stable periods where she's okay. Pay attention to whether tough times conveniently prevent her from ever giving back or showing up for you. Real partners experience hardship, but still show up and reciprocate when possible. Even during difficult times, there's some evidence of partnership, some attempt at balance, some acknowledgement of your needs too. The red flag is unmistakable. Every single time you expect more from the relationship, more commitment, more reciprocity, more partnership, a new crisis emerges that makes your expectations seem unreasonable. It's always conveniently timed to keep you in giving mode and her in taking mode. Perpetual crisis keeps you in rescue mode, but this final lie is perhaps the most painful because it makes you doubt your own instincts. 8. You're just being insecure. Does she flip the script when you raise concerns, making you feel like the problem for even questioning her? You're just being insecure. You're too jealous. You're overthinking this. Why are you so paranoid? Gentlemen, psychologists have a term for this manipulation tactic. It's called gaslighting. Research on what experts call DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender, shows this is one of the most damaging manipulation strategies because it doesn't just avoid accountability, it makes you doubt your own reality. Here's the ultimate deflection at work. You notice something that concerns you. Maybe she's texting someone constantly and being secretive. Maybe money keeps disappearing. Maybe her stories don't add up. So you raise the issue calmly and reasonably. And instead of addressing your legitimate concern, she attacks your character. Your concerns become your insecurity. Your valid questions become your jealousy. Your reasonable expectations become your unreasonable demands. The pattern is devastatingly consistent. Instead of addressing legitimate issues, she makes the issue about what's wrong with you. You notice red flags, she tells you you're paranoid. You ask for clarity about the relationship, she says you're clingy and desperate. You express discomfort about her relationship with an ex. She accuses you of being controlling and insecure. See what's happening? The conversation never addresses your actual concern. It redirects entirely to your supposed character flaws. But here's the insidious part specific to age gap relationships. She weaponizes your age-related insecurities against you. Older men are just jealous because they know younger guys are still interested in me. You're being possessive because you're insecure about our age difference. This is why dating someone older is hard. You're too controlling. She takes the vulnerability you already feel about the age gap and uses it as a weapon to silence your concerns. Think about the examples. You notice she's maintaining intimate contact with her ex. Legitimate concern, right? But when you bring it up, suddenly you're the insecure older guy who can't handle that she has a past. You want to know where the relationship is going after a year together. Reasonable question. But she flips it. You're clingy, you're moving too fast, you're being demanding. You express discomfort with how she talks to other men. She doesn't address the behavior. She attacks you for being jealous and controlling. Now here's why this destroys older men specifically. You already have doubts about the age gap. You already wonder if you're too jealous, too old-fashioned, too set in your ways. When she confirms these fears, when she tells you that your concerns are just insecurity, it triggers that self-doubt spiral. Maybe I am being too jealous. Maybe this is just how younger people interact. Maybe I'm being possessive and I don't realize it. Gentlemen, this is exactly what gaslighting does. It makes you doubt your own instincts. So, what should you do? Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Your instincts are based on pattern recognition from years of life experience. Don't let someone talk you out of them. Notice if she ever validates your feelings or if she only dismisses them. Genuine partners discuss concerns together. Manipulators deflect and blame. The red flag is clear as day. You can never raise any issue without being made to feel crazy, jealous, insecure, or problematic. So gentlemen, those are the 8 sweet lies younger women tell when they're just using you. Now you know the warning signs. Flattery with price tags, vague promises, perpetual crises, and gaslighting. Genuine connection requires consistency, reciprocity, and respect, not sweet lies. You deserve authentic value, not strategic manipulation. Trust your instincts. If this helped, hit like and comment which lie surprised you most. Subscribe for honest dating advice. Want to spot genuine interest? Click here. Or watch how older men push younger women away. Thanks for watching, gentlemen. Stay sharp, stay confident. You're worth more than being someone's safety net.